Russian President Vladimir Putin has arrived in Beijing for talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping. His trip comes less than a week after President Donald Trump's state visit to China. Putin and Xi are expected to discuss economic cooperation between the two countries, but also key international and regional issues. His visit does coincide with the 25th anniversary of the Sino-Russian Treaty of Friendship, signed in 2001. Our correspondent in Beijing, Katrina Yu, has the latest.
Russia's Vladimir Putin has arrived in China days after Donald Trump left. Putin is accompanied by a large business and government delegation, and they're expected to sign dozens of deals during their time in China. Atop the agenda is energy security. Putin is expected to raise the Power of Siberia 2, a gas pipeline connecting the two countries. Now, the project was reportedly stalled due to price disagreements, as well as China's reluctance to become over-reliant on any one country for its energy. China already imports a large amount of oil and gas from Russia. However, Putin is hoping the war in Iran and the continued closure of the Strait of Hormuz will change that. The leaders are also expected to discuss regional security, the turmoil in the Middle East and in Ukraine, with Xi Jinping updating Putin about what he discussed with Donald Trump. China sees Russia as an important strategic partner and counterweight to Washington. Like Beijing, Moscow would like to see a more multipolar world, one where the US has less power. Russia also consistently backs China in many geopolitical areas, including when it comes to Taiwan. In the past, Xi Jinping has referred to Putin as his very close and intimate friend. But that closeness has also become a liability, damaging trust with Europe. Xi Jinping during this visit must walk a tight diplomatic tightrope, on the one hand keeping Russia close while distancing himself from its invasion of Ukraine. The optics here will also be very carefully managed, because in hosting Donald Trump one week and Vladimir Putin the next, Xi Jinping wants to show the world that China can speak to all sides. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Now, before leaving for China, Putin spoke about the importance of his trip.
Russia and China are actively expanding their contacts in politics, the economy, and defense, while broadening humanitarian exchanges and encouraging person-to-person interaction. It means that together we are doing everything that can further deepen bilateral collaboration and advance the comprehensive development of our countries. It is important that these are the issues that will shape the agenda of the upcoming talks in Beijing.
Well, let's now speak with Al Jazeera's Yulia Shapovalova, who is joining us now live from Moscow. Yulia, give us a sense of what is on Putin's agenda as he kicks off this two-day meeting.
Well, before this trip, Vladimir Putin once again called the relations between Moscow and Beijing close strategic partnership, saying that they had reached a truly unprecedented level. So we know that around 40 documents are expected to be signed on the economy and other spheres of cooperation. For Russia, China remains a key economic and political partner because Russia remains under Western sanctions. According to Russian authorities, Russia has a number of advantages for China and definitely has something to offer. For example, it can provide the cheapest energy in the world for artificial intelligence because actually it also needs some increased volumes of power energy to develop. Moscow is increasingly dependent, of course, on Beijing, as it is Beijing is the largest buyer of Russian energy resources. The lion's share of Russia's imports also come from China, if we talk about trade. Well, the main day of negotiations is tomorrow, Wednesday, May the 20th, At the meetings, Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping are going to discuss the economy, of course, including the Power of Siberia 2 gas pipeline project through Mongolia. If Vladimir Putin manages to convince the Chinese leader to implement this project, it will be considered a big success for Russia.
Yulia, I mean, we've been looking at how Beijing is viewing this, but how is this visit being actually taken and viewed where you are in Russia?
Well, people in Russia are closely following Russia's president's visit to Beijing because obviously Russian authorities keep convincing the Russian population that China is Russia's #1 geopolitical ally. And, well, these days, Moscow, Moscow actually wants to develop more relations with China, not just China, but with the so-called, combined and, global South, as we call it. And also it's interesting, and people understand it here, but that Vladimir Putin arrived in China just a few days after Donald Trump's visit. And Russia is considering the possibility of joint projects, not just with China, but with American investors within the framework of partnership with China. Well, probably it sounds a little bit complicated, but Russia is really looking forward to more cooperation and more opportunities, how it can expand its business, its investment potential, and how to expand its economy, because once again, Russia is under heavy Western sanctions at the moment.
Yulia, thank you very much indeed. Yulia Shapovalova joining us there live from Moscow.